Yo, my name is Adeja Adebo Ali, and it's the best sporting show in the whole of the universe. I have the whole gang with me today. Like I said, it's New Systems Sports, airing, of course, on a band radio scope, on our YouTube channel, on Spotify, on our Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast that you can think of. We are there. You can listen to us even after the show. I'll allow the guests or my co-analysts to introduce themselves. I'll start with Shay.
Sport fans around the world, welcome to this week's edition of the show. Hope that week has been fantastic sport wise. I'm sure I can say that for Manchester United fans and Arsenal fans. What I, of course, of course, we won't like to talk about the offside goal on the show today, and a good one for Ife Ajagba also on the weekend, even though not so convincing. But obviously, as we will take welcome everyone.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Shay. Ali.
Good evening, sporting fans around the world. It's good to be back here. I've been on sabbatical for a while.
A Manchester United infused sabbatical.
I think I'm fully recharged now. Unfortunately, we couldn't do any review of the World Cup. It's past now.
All right, perfect. Kachi.
Sports fans, always a pleasure.
Welcome everybody.
I think I got caught up with Olale there, but always a pleasure to be a part of you. I said last week that the show is always better when Sheyi can join us and is smiling. That the show is always better when Olale can also join us with a smile on his face, simply because United did that. Big congratulations to Barcelona for winning the Super Copa, defeating their arch nemesis Real Madrid 3-1. It's playoff time in the NFL. Interesting times are here. We probably won't cover the NFL today, but we will dissect everything. By the rule of the game, it was not an offside. I just wanted to say that. However, you begin to question football when those who make the rules sometimes did not play the sport. I guess that's the biggest issue.
All right. Perfect. We'll start with Ife Ajagba and Shinya. I'm going to come to you. I watched the match, the highlights of the match. Basically, I did not watch the full match due to situations beyond my capacity or my capability, and of course, Kachi did not help me with that one. But anyways, I saw Ajagba. It was a little bit too conservative. Like we discussed pre-production, he has all the chance because of his reach, the power, the strength that he possesses, and the rest. But that did not technically translate to how we fought. And on a normal day, probably he could have lost this match as well, which would have been a shame, given what he could have achieved during the bout itself. Shane.
Yeah, completely agree with you. And pre-fight analysis we had on the chat room. Basically, I was much more, hell bent on him improving on his boxing abilities, his boxing, rather than focusing on his power. And that actually played out because he was actually fighting someone close to Frank Sanchez in terms of skills, the jabs combination, the movement, and the way they want to dominate. And the thing about Ajagba now is that he is so relaxed and always trying to measure the opponent with the left jab and waiting for the right, the right punch. And that really did not work well for him on the night. Guess what? Do you know that this bout was a 10-round bout, actually?
Uh-huh.
And guess what? The judges had ahead after 6 rounds. So it's still like I said, this bout could have passed for a draw if
Uh-huh.
not for Ajagba. But one way or the other, unanimously,
You
it won.
won.
So for me, on a good day, if he's facing a more dominant fighter, I will probably be seeing a different result. So I think he still has quite a lot to
To learn.
you mentioned probably he should change his trainer. I think that probably should be the next thing for him because it doesn't dominate about
Exactly. Yeah.
convincingly. When you dominate in a boxing match, if you are defending, your defense must be dominating.
Yeah.
Who can see clearly that you are actually dodging these punches,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you are dominating in terms of the
Offensively.
that your jabs are landing, they can see that you're able to parry the jabs of the opponent and counter punch.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that. So it's for me, that's not going to take him anywhere because in the heavyweight division, this is actually a rising star. If you see the way they've
The
building him,
prop team. Yeah. Yeah. I saw it. Everybody was just going
exactly,
on and on about him on Twitter.
exactly. So to be sincere, for me, it's not convincing, and I think he has quite a lot to do.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Kachi, I'm going to come to you before we go to tennis. And my question would be sometimes you can't give what you don't have, right? Do you think it's lack of skill on the part of Ajagba? Is just reliant on his big punch and the rest? As against, because I am of the opinion that you could change his coach, learn new things. But if you don't have that in you, it's going to be difficult for you to even exhibit what you don't have.
I don't think it's a case of lack of skill, or should I say, it is a lack of skill, but not an inability to learn.
Okay.
This is someone whose pure power has always helped in bouts, save for the fight against Sanchez. And
Sanchez.
even in that fight against Sanchez, we had his moments. He just wasn't landing them as heavily as he would land. He would have landed them in previous fights, and that really is the case. And it's similar to the issue with Deontay Wilder. When you've relied on your power for so long, and then you start to see different looks from different fighters, it tends to confuse you. And it also speaks to the, should I say, the technical
Deficiencies.
deficiency of his coaches, that they did not add these smaller wrinkles to his game.
I think we lost you. I can't hear you, Kachi. Kachi, I can't hear you. We lost Kachi there. I can't hear Kachi. I'm pretty sure he's talking because I can see his lips move, but I can't hear Kachi right now for some strange reason. Okay. Olale, I'm going to come to you now with the Australian Open. Pending the time when I get Kachi back. When I have Kachi back, I can always throw the question back to him. But this is going to be 21, the 21st. Novak has 21 Grand Slams right now. Nadal has 22 right now. And Novak has been cleared to compete at the Australian Open. And thankfully for both stars, they would not be facing each other unless they get to the finals. So they are in different bracket spots right now, opposite seedings. And luckily for them, the rising star, Carlos Alcaraz, is not going to be there. Marin Cilic is out as well. So it looks good for both of these guys right now. Although in the top five, they still have Stefanos Tsitsipas to contend against Andrei Rublev on the fifth, and of course Kaspar Ruud on the second seeding right now. How do you think he's going to pan out for this Australian Open?
Well, it is very good for the sport, and for the sake of history that Novak Djokovic is back this year. Um, I don't want a situation whereby in the next 15, 20 years, discussion about who are in the most Grand Slam, and it comes down to if Novak has taken part in so I'm happy that he's back for this competition.
Back.
In as much as we probably want to make it like the battle of both two veterans, like you rightly
Yeah.
said, there are a couple of guys that who are capable of upsetting
Yeah.
either of the two. I,
Hmm.
I I think one of them might not make it to the last four or probably to the final. Who is
Wow.
going to be, I don't know. I just feel one of those young guys is going to cause
Great an upset.
create an upset along the way. I think
But
the
if you happen to
story,
bank your money on either of the two, who will you put your money on? Like this one is going to get to the final.
I think it has to be Novak. I think he
Exactly.
has a lot of. I think there are a lot of anger in him. He has a lot to prove, and I think he's coming out. Is coming out in this competition with a lot of fire.
Fire.
Just trust him. Yeah, just trust him. I think that so. If there's anyone that might not likely make it to the final, I think it's going to
Yes,
probably be
brother.
Nadal. But
Rafa.
again, not only him. I'm not writing him off, but I'm just saying. I think one of those young guys might
Will
likely
create an
knock out.
upset.
Yes, before the final.
All right, perfect. Kachi.
Yeah, can you hear
Yeah,
me now?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
So nine Australian title for Novak already. This potentially be his 10th. He still is the leading winner at the Australian Open. It's more or less like his backyard. So do you see him winning the 10th one right now?
Absolutely. I think this is probably his best shot to win this year. Because, like you said, the young guys are there. They are all motivated as well. Father Time is not really on the side of Novak as well. But that's
100%.
not the other one. That's why all you last because no is also not on. He's been fortunate enough not to kind of severe injuries that Nadal and Federer have suffered in his own career. The truth is, for a game as grueling as or will tell. I think just represents the Grand Slam this year because Nadal will do everything he can for
Is it just me? Kachi is breaking. I can't hear Kachi very well. It's breaking for some strange reason.
Okay. I'll change right
Oh,
up.
okay. Okay. All right. In the female version of it, Venus would have loved to be back on the courts. She's ranked 1003, 1003 player in the world right now. She was given the wild card to compete in this Australian Open, but fortunately, she's out again with an injury. Naomi Osaka is out of the championship as well because she's pregnant and she's not going to be competing in
Wow.
2023. We wish her.
She's what?
we wish her- She's pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's not going to be competing at the Australian Open or in 2023, as a matter of fact. And of course, in the female side, we have Coco Golf that went 15 straight sets, 10 straight sets without losing any one of it at Auckland at the ABS Classic. So we should watch out. You should look out for this girl. But of course, Ashibati has resigned or retired, forced retirement from tennis. She's not going to be competing, but of course, look out for Iga Swiatek, the world number one. Monos Joba, Jessica Pola, of course, Carolina Garcia, and of course, Sabalenka. Shay, I'm gonna come to you on this one. So they've cleared the Ukrainians and the Russians to compete at this edition of the Australian Open, but they cannot do that under their nationality. So you can compete, no problems, but you cannot be identified as a Russian or as a Ukrainian. Do you think this is a good one, and this is something that other championship hosts should follow suit with, especially the US Open and the All London Championship?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good step in the right direction, if you ask me. And like we said, we don't want to come here to discuss politics. We rather discuss sport for the love of the of the game. And when it comes to the situation where sportsmen are unable, to do what they love, to entertain the fans because of politics, we don't want that. So I
Exactly.
think good step in the right direction. Let them do what they love to do.
To do.
Don't forget that this is also what earns them the money to feed their family.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good decision. Let them do their sports. You can decide that they should fly a white flag. No problem about that. But let them stand and be.
All right. Perfect. Kachi, if I have you, are you
Yeah,
going to
do
do?
you do you do you
Yeah, I think I do have you right now, and it's
okay.
lovely to have you back. That's your big voice. I like hearing it. Don't tell your madam that, anyways. Are you giving these to Iga Swiatek, or will be surprised with what Google Golf is going to be doing? Stefan Snow will be doing at this tournament.
The truth is, we've said this countless times on this show that the women's side of tennis is probably the most unpredictable side of the sport,
Yeah.
especially since we lost, the Australian Ash Barty, we lost the Queen,
Uh huh.
Serena Williams as well. Iga Swiatek, as much as she is the most dominant force right now, no woman, I'll
Can
probably
lay
say she
claim.
hasn't been so consistent.
Uh huh.
We've said is that consistency over domination is the rule, the key,
The
the
rule of the
key of
top.
this in this particular sport. So it's very difficult. I fancy everyone, but I also won't be surprised. It's much more okay. Let me put it this way: it's very likely, it's more likely that Swiatek gets knocked out before the knockout stages. Let's put it that way: the
Uh huh.
round of 16 and
Uh huh.
co, than it is for Novak Djokovic to lose in the first 3 rounds. So based on that, the truth is anybody I meet at the finals day is when I can tell you who would likely
Who will
win
likely
because
win?
it is very inconsistent in that
All right,
aspect.
perfect. Thank you very much. We're going to a quick break right now. And when we come back, we'll be jumping through the owners of the blue side of London. They have the money. We are back to the money laundry era. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.